A police officer pulled me over for taillights, but when he saw my wife, he grabbed his gun. The flashing lights appeared behind me like a warning I couldn't ignore. Blue, red, relentless. I eased the car to the side, hand steady on the wheel. My wife sat next to me, silent, staring ahead as though the night outside didn't exist. The officer approached slowly, flashlight beam cutting through the glass. His expression changed the moment it fell on her. His jaw locked. His hand drifted to his holster. "Sir," he said, his voice sharp, "step out of the car, now." Confusion coiled in my stomach. "Why?" I asked. His eyes flicked to her. His knuckles tightened around the grip of his weapon. "Because that's not your wife." The words hit me like a knife buried quiet into flesh. I turned toward her. She didn't flinch. She didn't breathe. But in her hand, half hidden in her lap, was something small, metallic, glinting. And then I knew. I opened the door and ran out into the cold night. My heart was hammering, but not from fear, from clarity. Because the horrifying thing wasn't what she held. It was the truth I had been avoiding. The truth the cop had just forced me to face. It hadn't started here. Not with flashing lights. It started months ago, with whispers, with lies so delicate they almost sounded like love. She told me she was working late, always tired, drained, brittle. Her phone never left her hand, smiles hidden behind screens, a new perfume clinging to her skin, one I hadn't bought. I told myself I was imagining it. That marriage wore people down, made them different. That if I just waited, she would come back to me. But then came the night she looked me in the eyes and said, "It's my body, my choice. You don't get to control me." She was talking about her boss, about being his surrogate. A transaction, she called it. Business. A chance at money, freedom. I told her no. I told her she was gambling with something sacred. She laughed. "Not your decision." The way she said it cracked something inside me, something that had believed in loyalty, in partnership, in us. And when I told her I wouldn't raise another man's child, she didn't argue, she didn't cry, she just nodded, cold, as if she'd already decided which side she was on. That was the night I realized she had crossed over to him and left me behind. I didn't confront her. Not then, not ever. Instead, I watched, I listened, I collected pieces, phone records, texts that came at 2 a.m., receipts hidden in the trash, dinners, hotels, jewelry I never saw. I paid for a test without her knowing, a quiet lab, no questions asked, a strand of hair sealed in an envelope. The results would tell me what my gut already screamed. And yet, I played the husband. I kissed her forehead when she came home. I asked about her day, feigned interest in her excuses. I tucked my suspicion into silence and let it grow teeth in the dark. I studied the way she looked at me, not with hate, not even with guilt, but with absence, like I wasn't there at all. Every smile, every soft word she gave me, it wasn't mine. It was borrowed, bought, meant for someone else. I wondered if she thought I was blind. I wondered if she wanted me to find out. And then the envelope arrived, sealed, heavy. It sat on my desk like a loaded gun. I opened it at night, alone, while she slept 2 rooms away. The silence was so deep it felt alive. The paper inside carried one sentence that ended everything. Not a genetic match. Not mine. Never mine. I stared at the words until they blurred, until rage turned into something quieter, sharper, easier to carry. The next morning, I slid the paper across the table. She froze. Her hands trembled as she unfolded it. Her eyes darted to me, then back to the truth she could no longer deny. She started, but I cut her off with silence. I didn't need her words. They were empty currency. The tears came, messy and desperate. She begged, claimed she did it for us, for the money, for the future. But I saw through it. The paper between us was a wall she could never climb. I remained still, detached, watching her drown in the truth. I didn't scream, I didn't throw the table over. That would have given her power, proof that she mattered enough to break me. Instead, I stood, walked to the drawer, pulled out the set of keys I'd already packed days ago. She watched, wide-eyed, voice cracking. "Please, don't do this. Don't leave me. I made a mistake." Mistake. The word tasted bitter. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. Repeated, calculated, just like mine. I placed the test results in front of her. "Not my baby," I said, my voice low, steady. "Not my problem." Her sobs filled the kitchen, but they didn't touch me. They slid off me like rain against glass. Because I had already left her, long before I picked up those keys. The night the officer pulled me over was only the echo of all that had already broken. When he told me she wasn't my wife, he wasn't wrong. The woman sitting next to me was a shell, a stranger wrapped in her skin. What she held in her hand that night, a syringe, half full, glistening in the dark, it didn't matter anymore. Whether it was meant for me, for her, or for the child she carried, it wasn't my burden. I stepped out into the night and let the flashing lights wash me clean. Her screams followed me, shrill, desperate, clawing at the edges of my silence. But I kept walking, because I finally understood something simple, brutal, and final. Loyalty is not given, it is earned. And once it is broken, nothing, not blood, not marriage, not history, can glue it back together. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need closure. I only needed distance. And when I left her behind, crying in the glow of the officer's headlights, I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing.